Thousands of people bid farewell to Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny at his funeral in Moscow. Under a heavy police presence, thousands of people bade farewell to Alexei Navalny at his funeral in Moscow after his still unexplained death 2 weeks ago in an Arctic penal colony. Diplomats with flowers, including the French, German and US ambassadors to Russia, also joined the crowds to pay their respects. For many mourners, this was a personal tragedy.
Каждый человек, который пришел сегодня сюда, это человек, который исполняет свой гражданский долг, который не боится заявить о скорби, хотя сейчас в нашей стране это запрещено. Потому что Алексей для всех, кто здесь сегодня присутствует, и для многих, кто сегодня здесь не присутствует, кто не решился сюда приехать, является человеком, который не просто отдал свою жизнь в борьбе за что-то, который отдал свою жизнь в борьбе за нас.
Я пришел, чтобы почтить память героя России. Я вижу среди людей Z-поколения, верящих этому режиму, что у них появились какие-то сомнения. Особенно с этой пыткой, которую устроили родственники.
Inside the church, Navalny's mother sat beside an open casket with her son's body inside. The Kremlin has refused to give any assessment of Navalny as a politician.
В день похорон Навального Кремль может как-то дать оценку ему как политической фигуре? Нет, не может. У нас нет никаких комментариев.
As the coffin carrying the body left the church following the funeral service, hundreds of people lined the streets applauding and chanting his name. Some also shouted, "You weren't afraid, neither are we." Navalny was taken for burial at the nearby Boris-Savozhskoye cemetery, where police also showed up in force.
Ukrainian officials are reportedly concerned about the possibility of significant Russian territorial gains in summer 2024 in the event of continued delays in Western security assistance. Bloomberg reported that internal Ukrainian assessments state that Russian advances along the front line could gain significant momentum by summer 2024 unless Ukraine's partners increase provisions of artillery ammunition. Some of the heaviest fighting is continuing west of Avdiivka. Russian forces advanced here and reportedly captured several settlements in the area. Geolocated footage shows that Russian forces advanced into the fields south and southwest of Stepove, which is northwest of Avdiivka, as well as northwest of Lastochkina, west of Avdiivka. Bloomberg reported that sources close to Ukrainian leadership stated that Ukraine expects Russian forces to decide between continuing their current focus on gradual tactical advances and preparing for a larger breakthrough attempt in summer 2024, depending on the results of current Russian offensive operations.
More than 100 Palestinians were killed in Gaza City while they were queuing to receive aid. This brings the death toll since October 7 to more than 30,000, according to health officials. Hospital officials initially reported an Israeli strike, but witnesses say Israeli troops opened fire as people pulled flour and canned goods off trucks.
احنا شعب بدنا نعيش بدنا ناكل هذا ليش صار راح يجيب اكل لاولاده راح يجيب هذا الشاب راح يجيب كيس طحين زيه زي كل استشهد زي كل الصاوم طلع على هذا المنظر طلع بالله عليك الصاوم كيف عمليه مقابل دورات.
The IDF released footage of crowds surrounding aid trucks in northern Gaza and said in a statement, the Palestinian crowd attacked the trucks and as a result, dozens were killed from overcrowding. The spokesperson for the office of the Israeli Prime Minister said the people driving the trucks plowed into the crowds, ultimately killing tens of people. The Palestinian ambassador at the United Nations in Geneva denounced the attack.
Hundreds of Palestinian civilians in Arashi who were awaiting trucks loaded with humanitarian aid, and they were bombed by the occupying power. More than 1,000 people wounded, many of them very seriously wounded. Are these human shields? Are these Hamas combatants?
Hungary's new set of immigration laws will come into effect on Friday. The laws are some of the strictest in the European Union. They include, among other things, the banning of family reunification and the division of residence permits for workers into low-skilled and highly skilled. Other measures include the introduction of a golden visa process. Foreign nationals in Hungary will also face deportation if they are fired from a job. Left-wing parties in Hungary's parliament have opposed the legislation, but have been labelled as pro-migration by Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán.
Leaders of Western Balkan countries agreed on Thursday to speed up cooperation in exchange for a €6 billion aid package. They also hope it may speed up the union membership process. The package is an effort to double the region's economy over the next decade, but EU Enlargement Commissioner Oliver Várhelyi said the funds did not mean the states could join the single market.
It would be unfair to ask our Western Balkan partners to participate in the single market where they have less power to compete compared to our companies. This is why we are also dedicating an additional funding to this plan to help all the reforms that are necessary to get these reforms done, because most of these reforms are also coming at cost, financial cost.
The region's 6 countries, Albania, Bosnia, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia and Serbia, are all at varying stages of their EU membership applications. They will cooperate on unifying financial regulations, adapting their customs rules and creating joint border crossings like the bloc's other member countries.
Local buses, trams and subway trains have come to a halt in much of Germany as transport employees carry out another 2-day strike. They're calling for better working conditions, including shorter working weeks and extra compensation for shift and night work. Such short warning strikes are a common tactic in German contract negotiations. They've frustrated travellers and commuters.
Man muss natürlich beide Seiten sehen und man kann verstehen, dass die Menschen, die bei der KVB arbeiten, eben auch entsprechend bezahlt werden wollen und dafür eben auch entsprechend handeln.
Aber dass man dann dauernd immer wieder streitet, das finde ich dann unfair. Also gegenüber die Menschen, die auch den Nahverkehr auch fahren. Ne?
The union Verdi called for the 48-hour warning strike in the ongoing nationwide wage dispute in regional negotiations. The walkout coincides with weeks of rail, airport and local transport strikes across the country.
With the European elections just 100 days away, Euronews took the streets of Brussels to see if people knew when to mark their calendars to elect their MEPs who will be representing them for the next 5 years.
Do you know when the European elections are?
I don't know.
No, pas du tout.
This year. Okay, but I don't know the month.
C'est en octobre, non? Ou novembre, un truc comme ça?
In June.
June?
Yes, in June.
This year, month of June.
Mais en tout cas, j'ai l'intention d'aller voter, oui, ça c'est sûr.
These elections are taking place in a tense time as the EU faces several crises, such as the war in Ukraine and the inflation. Citizens have different priorities for their next European Parliament.
Well, I guess ecology, that's very important.
El cambio climático, que se reunieron pero no arreglaron nada.
Maybe talk about Palestine and what's going on over there.
They need to discuss Palestine.
Qu'on vive de nouveau en paix.
Less liberal, more social.
Les pays ont envie de se refermer sur eux-mêmes. Cette montée du nationalisme me fait peur.
I do hope that the extremes won't be there.
Do you plan on voting this year?
I probably will, yes.
Ah, je m'intéresse pas du tout à ça. Je suis désolée.
Die blutigen Bandenkriege rivalisierender Drogenkartelle hier in Frankreich finden kein Ende. 49 Menschen wurden im vergangenen Jahr allein hier in Marseille ermordet. Ja, die Leute in den Vorstädten sind verzweifelt.
Il s'est pris une rafale de 5 balles de Kalachnikov dans le thorax, donc vous pensez bien qu'il n'a pas pu survivre à ça. Ces monstres, je pense, l'ont pris pour un guetteur. Ils ont vu deux gosses en survêt et les ont allumés, quoi. Un petit Marseillais, à l'heure d'aujourd'hui, peut mourir sous des balles, comme dans un pays comme le Mexique, pays des cartels, alors qu'on est en France, quoi.
J'ai trouvé les jeunes ici autour du feu, ils me connaissaient, je leur ai dit clairement, je dis les gars, vous allez vous faire tuer, vous allez vous faire descendre, c'est chaud, il y a la guerre en ce moment. Puis le lendemain, j'ai appris qu'un des jeunes en question s'est fait tuer. Et dimanche, je suis retourné le voir sur son lit de morgue, ça m'a fait drôle. Hein.
Le trafic de stupéfiants générerait en France 3 milliards d'euros de chiffre d'affaires. Cet argent coule à flot, cet argent peut permettre de corrompre. J'ai régulièrement des séquestrations, des enlèvements, des tortures, parce que le jeune vendeur de drogue, il a volé 20 € au réseau pour s'acheter un sandwich. Cet argent tue.